This kind of pop-up storybook type of animation done really well actually transported me back to my early childhood for a minute there. It was scary, I was all young and everything. Straight away I'm reminded of how well this studio can craft a town. They always look so unique as well, depending on where it's taking place. Always nice to see this side to Eris, so happy to be out and about, exploring and adventuring, what she really longed for all of her life so far. Also take another one here, half the win is for the amazing looking food, but the other half is that gorgeous music. Whilst you're here, I wanted to please ask that you subscribe, like and comment on the video. You have no idea how important it is on YouTube, and to be honest, I could really use the help, so any tips and Patreon support are also amazing. Thanks so much for considering it, and back to the video. The effort that goes into that for a 2-second shot is insane. This dude just straight up happy to see him again, no lie. It's worth a win in my books. Going without an OP to give us this lovely, well done introduction to this special episode. I forgot how risky this anime often was with limited fabrics on people. It was outrageous. I want to praise the animation quality and style. I love the style in general, but the quality of a one-off episode here is top notch.
やめなさいよ。大人げないわよ。
え、行くぞお前ら。
誰が助けてくれなんて言ったんだよ。
Credit for dealing with this moment differently than most other anime do. You know the by the numbers cliche. She'd step in, he'd be happy, everything is cool, but not here. That punch. I adore slow motion punches in anime because you can just see the frames involved when it's done perfectly. How they make it look like they've actually put words on these guild notices. I'll be honest, even great studios sometimes don't do walking all that great, so colour me shocked that we got such a long scene of them walking from multiple angles, zoomed in and out, and it was perfect. I forgot how exceptionally this studio also does battles. I can think of so many anime where swords clash and they stand there talking as jagged animation makes it look like a struggle, but here it's on another level. There's actual movement back and forth, bodies twisting into strikes and so on. They could have then so easily relied on CGI, but instead went all Konosuba with amazing looking hand-drawn magic effects. He's basically a male Megaman from that show too. Almost as good as the first one. Prime example of how each location in this series can look so diverse. Think back to the second half of the first season that I covered where Rudius is captured but helps out his captors. That was in a forest, but entirely different looking to this one. Not running in place. Very easy Max 2 wins for this one. The way the studio handles fighting is actually one of my favourites. They just use the same style as their normal animation but with added intensity. The end result is a stupidly smooth looking action set piece that just takes a long time to put together, but my god it's worth it. Badass!
私は神殿騎士団のテレーズ・ラトレイヤと申すものです。
Rudius's aunt!
味方ではない。教皇様は魔族との共存を望んでいらっしゃる。
First of all, I really appreciate the expansive and interesting lore during moments like this, but secondly, him passing away naturally is win-worthy. That's actually quite unique how that went down. Wow now, that's just stunning. Intriguing way by which to show her feelings towards Rudius clearly on display as his own feelings are mirrored in what he now sees in front of himself. It's really rather sweet that we know he was in fact watching over her the entire day from afar.
クリフ様の教鞭を取られていた先生方が
Good plot twist there, and I must admit they fooled me. I thought he wore the helmet because he turned red from basically falling in love with her. You got me! Ah, it's so clever to now mix this moment here, which happened during that second half of the season. I think maybe it came after he saw his father again, but I could be wrong, it's been a while. Just like how I mentioned before about varied locations in this one, this is again a totally different location to the Eris episode, and it looks wildly different as a result.
アリエル様、しかしながら内側に畳まれたものもそれはそれでよろしいものでございます。
Jonathan the Joestar!
アリエル様、あなたはこれからこの国の王になられるお方。
Sent from the Eminence in Shadow. This falling scene giving us a really lovely and highly detailed shot of the town from above. That damn landing though! They even gave us an awesome rotating shot, as if it wasn't great enough as it was.
あなたの故郷はもうありません。あなたの家族も友人も探し出すのは困難でしょう。
It's good to jump into her story for a while and see what happened to her when the big event went down. It's easy to forget just how earth-shattering that moment was for everyone.
それまで今この瞬間から名前も姿も変えて。
Getting to witness the events which led up to her becoming this person, as naturally it was so confusing to suddenly see her in an awkward position towards the end of the first season.
そんなケーキ、私のような未熟者にはまだ似合いませんわ。
Political intrigue done well by all accounts, saying things but meaning other things, and it's well animated in that this dude is basically borderline aggressive with his staring. That's well done.
体が左右に揺れているぞ。立ちっぱなしで足に来ているのだろうが耐えろ。
That's very clever. We assume by listening to him she's having trouble standing for so long, but in reality she's reading all of their intrusive thoughts and is causing her physical discomfort. Pulling off a full flawless 360 degrees rotating shot.
クーデターでも起こす気か。まさか。そこまで短慮ではありますまい。
You know what this reminds me of in a good way? Berserk from 1997. That deep disgust you often feel from all of the plotting and scheming from the elites.
僕、きちんとアリエル様の護衛頑張るよ。いい心がけですね。
What I originally thought would be a bit of a weird scene turned out very sweet in the end, both of them struggling with events from their recent pasts and seeking comfort from nightmares. We knew it was coming from the opera talk, but it didn't stop this from being utterly thrilling all the same. Great smooth action, but with a little too much skinnage for YouTube's liking. Have a final win here for going without an ED in order to nicely wrap up episode 0 and for how the story brought about the next part of the story. Double kawaii!
北方大地にある国はほとんどが貧しいけど、魔法三大国と呼ばれる3つの国はそれなりに栄えてる。
Good way to drop lore on us by having it come by way of giving Rudius additional, potentially helpful information to use to find his mother in this new land. Yet again, another new location that has completely different vibes to it, from what the people are wearing to the completely different types of buildings and architecture, such as the walls feeling kinda East Prussian to me.
これは昇進旅行じゃない。ゼニスを探さなくては。
A few people on the community tab were very negative about this. I don't quite understand why. People love to complain if they feel a character isn't given enough character growth on my anime list, but when they go through actual real world emotions built upon and enforced by his prior life, it's seen as boring. Because he's sad. I don't get it. Which I'd even get to a small degree if he wasn't actively trying to find his mother instead of crying in a dark room or something. Few anime do small bits of world building as well as this one. Notice in the Eris episode I pointed out the guild notices having what looks like actual writing on them. Well, there it was paper, here it's this.
お願いします。
See, even this is obviously painful for him, letting go of the past and those memories, but he still does it because he wants to try and move on as best he can. Kawaii!
僕は見ての通り魔術師ですので、前衛を援護するのが得意です。ならちょうどいい。
Something like this happened that I talked about in Jujutsu Kaisen, where the girl is wearing Gojo's glasses and then puts them back on his head. I like that, and stuff like this going on during a chat.
昨日の感じだと遅れてくるかと思ったよ。
ちょっと早めに起きたもので。
I'm impressed by Studio Bind. They didn't have to throw so much hand animation into this series, but always seemed to take the hard road, not skipping animation or replacing it with CGI to ease the workload.
これから先、あんたも私らと別れて別の冒険者と組むかもしれないんだ。アスラ王国ではわがままも通用したけど、こっから先そうは言ってられなくなる。
この子の教育に利用されたってことか。
Finding a way by which to bring actual growth to this group rather than merely have them exist for the purpose of Rudius's story. It's actually more about Sarah than Rudius at this point. Then this is used to cement in his own personal feelings on the matter again, recalling the same relationship shared by his beloved Eris and Ghislaine. A good follow-up example to win number 23 could have had everyone motionless bar the person speaking. Instead, almost everyone in this short scene is animated once or twice.
あんたはこのパーティーじゃ異物なんだから、言われたことだけやって。
こういうところも似てる。
Might be a place people formed the opinion about his depression I mentioned before, but for me I see it differently. I see him affected by someone with a similar personality to how Eris used to be.
暴れ来る炎よ、巨大な恵みを焼き尽くせ。エクサフレーム、エクサフレーム。
Might be the first time in a long time that there's been lore consistency when it comes to magic in an anime. Can't tell you how many I've seen where sometimes they call out an attack move, sometimes don't. Anime are all over the place for that.
どうせ何も残らないし。
私がおとりになる。
She's actually an incredible person for doing this and deserves a win for greatness. She barely knows him, but likely feels a maternal instinct to help him all of this time. That's some legit beautiful quality animation on that half spin and attack right there. Honestly, one of the single greatest instances of being smacked to distance and landing hard I've seen.
なんで誰一人逃げようとしないんだ。
In all of my years watching anime, I've never seen anything quite like that. That was like some Lord of the Rings business. Outstanding. That's such a stupidly easy to dish out 2 max wins. That shocked me.
俺は知っているじゃないか。彼らがなぜ踏みとどまって戦うかを。
大丈夫。任せてください。
Rudius regaining something he lost during that battle feels very good to see him stepping up like this to help them when they now really needed it in turn. Why on earth are people complaining about some depression when we got that as a scene? And the rotating Lord of the Rings sequence earlier. What's going on? That was friggin' unreal, bruh. 2 max wins, please. Animation up the wazoo, gorgeous looking spell effects, and the throwing of it was sick. I threw up in my mouth a bit. Just kidding, but for real. Wow.
連れてきてもらってよかった。ありがとうございます。
I'm just gonna say, I don't get it. How did people complain? Did they only watch the first few minutes? Like, it's episode 1 and he's already come a long way. I guess some sad moments for him might crop up soon, you know, like happens to real people, but yeah, already he's grown like this. Let me know your feels down below. Am I crazy?
カウンターアローとルーデウスだ。
There's that kind of maternal part of her on display again, wanting him to get some of the shine for their gesture to buy everyone drinks in order to smoothly fit in this new town. Few wins here to round out the first proper episode. First up, going without an ED to gift us some extra content. Secondly, I loved how they ended it with him poring over fond memories since his arrival in this world, going out into the world for the first time, learning, finding friendship and love. Lastly, for the symbolic gesture of moving on, putting that chapter of his life behind him as best as he can and forging a new path back to the good things he still has in his life.
そうかそうか。よーしよし。
Did my boy name his knees? It's actually awesome to see him becoming this person, building himself up so well, clearly far more motivated than his terrible life allowed him to be the first time around on Earth.
お前の母親のことどっかで聞いたらお前に届くようにしといてやるから。
あ、よろしくお願いします。
His methods here are genius. In a world without police, detectives, phones, the internet, finding a way by which to make yourself allies who are willing to keep an ear to the ground to help you is brilliant.
名前を売るのに一つの町で数ヶ月から1年気の遠くなるような時間がかかるかもしれないがやるしかないのだ。
I love the realism! Imagine another mangaka not thinking too deeply about it. Rudius goes to the town, makes a name for himself. The next day... But no, it doesn't happen that way. As he said, it takes months, or even up to a year. That's fantastic realism Refugin injected into his story. My god, the studio is like White Fox when they cover ReZero. They just want to skip a bunch of OPs and EDs to keep giving us extra content. Big props for that. Plus, really nice song and montage too. I'll be 100% honest, just like season 1, the world makes me happy. It's so varied and love has so clearly been poured into it as you see the buildings behind him breathe life into the scenes. It reminds me of my favourite RPGs and the joy I find playing them. I find that same joy here.
その敬語もやめたら気持ち悪いよ。
Also, she can have a win. I do just like her. Not entirely sure why, but clearly she's starting to like Rudius too after watching him a few times, likely helping people around the town.
ガルガウ遺跡第一次ジンマ大戦の時に作られた要塞です。
I often find I've been doing anime wins for so long now that I have an inhuman ability to write perfectly timed wins, like number 47, as we're gifted not only an entirely different set of visuals, but lore too.
さすがに捏造しすぎじゃないか？
For some reason that made me laugh so much more than it should have, making the statue version of her massively different to her actual assets, as it were.
Picture!
Can I just say, I can't think of another studio that hates to rely on CGI for its creatures more than this one, and I'm so proud of them for it. So far, it's just the horses sometimes. That's it. That wholesome feeling of warm relief when he understands that they did not in fact flee whilst he held them off and merely regrouped to counterattack. I liked seeing how this was resolved by a genuinely good leader that they have. It really reminded me of my years playing World of Warcraft from like 2005 to 2010. Brought back fond memories.
はいそうですかと引き下がるやつは俺は嫌いだ。そこには戦わなきゃいけない時がある。
There are so many frames in this drunken rambling rant. This moment is really aesthetically pleasing with how it was framed, foreground and background. Look how subtle they are with their weather effects to build the feel, not just when the door opens, but blowing past the window too.
ちなみにどこではぐれたんですか？
西の鳥居の森だよ。
Says a lot about Rudius that he doesn't hesitate for a moment, hears the news, goes straight away to pack and sets off to try and find her. Man, I knew he was strong. I didn't know he could do magic like that. That's actually badass.
他人を見捨てないという選択を取りたいだけなのかもしれない。エリスに捨てられた俺だから。
There's that much needed character growth on display. I don't want anyone to feel abandoned like I did when Eris left, so I'm finding her my way and bringing her back. Can't exactly get away with showing it, but let's just say they're not exactly shy about letting us see how many people have fallen in this forest to these beasts.
サラとはそんなに仲良かったわけでもない。この間の彼女はそれほどトゲトゲしくはなかったな。
Also wanted to say that it says a lot about him that he collected something to bury from the guy who passed and then essentially gave everyone a dignified funeral who'd been left there. Out of absolutely nowhere, we're gifted with a gorgeously smooth-looking continuous motion shot.
ルーテウス、助 助けに来ました。
He saved her, take my win.
あのさ、嬉しかったよ。助けに来てくれて。
Ah, totes and Dobbs.
そんな無茶してあんたまで死んだらどうするつもりだったんだ。
ちょっと、スザンヌそんな言い方はないでしょ。
It's actually really sweet to witness her doing this for him for the first time. Normally it's absolutely roles reversed with those two.
ルーデウス、ありがとう。本当にありがとう。
Straight to my heart, man. That broke through nearly all of my defenses. Whoa, close one.
今日はゆっくり休んでください。
Genuinely made me smile so deeply seeing her like this towards him for the first time. Both ways, really. And a final win for a cracking good episode for, again, skipping that ED.
今日もお疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様。
あの一件以来俺はカウンターアローとほとんど一緒に行動するようになった。
It's nice to see even this small change in him, where now he's quite content to celebrate alongside them.
ルーデウスさ、明日って暇？一緒に買いに行かない？
デートだ。
Not gonna lie, it's also very sweet to see her now so taken with him. Two max wins here, firstly for skipping the OP, again, to give us this lovely intro, but also because it's great just seeing these two together like that. Great music still, very catchy.
ここは慎重に行こう。確実に行けるタイミングを狙うべきだ。そうだろう、パウロ。
Seeing him eager to not repeat the mistakes of the past is a nice addition to the story, and to him as a character, I must admit.
分かってて言っているのだろうか。いやいや、ここは俺が我慢してでも。
I have no idea why, but that sharp movement from casual drinking to, oh my lord, I gotta think, was hilarious to me.
そんなことよりさ、こっちへ来ない？
はい。
行きます。
It's the difference between his real world voice and internal monologue that's doing it, I think.
私、別にあんたのこと好きとかじゃないから。
You know, this is a tough one to win. It's not great per se, however it is realistic. Naturally, him having downstairs issues caused her to get defensive, assuming it was her issue, which it isn't.
おや泥沼じゃねえか。
Can't believe I didn't notice it until now, but Mr. from JoJo's Golden Wind season.
お、そんな。てめえ、お前。
ヘラヘラしてて何がおかしいんだよ。
Getting to see Rudius finally sticking up for himself against this guy, even if it might damage his rep, I just preferred to see it, and it's a win where I come from.
嫌われたくねえんだよ。嫌われないために笑ってるんだよ。
Very good voice acting there from a talented Yumi Uchiyama.
悪かったよ。俺が悪かった。まあ飲めって。そんで話してみろよ。
This is hugely win-worthy. First of all, because Rudius is basically hugging him for comfort in that moment, but mainly because it made him snap out of that bullying behavior and act kind for a change.
でもよ、原因がそれなら、それで上書きするしかねえんじゃねえか。プロに任せてみようぜ。
It's good to see Rudius outing his actual issues, and it's even nicer to see him hearing him out and making him feel a bit better and giving advice.
お邪魔します。エリーゼです。よろしくお願いします。
1. Kawaii, yet again. 2. Internal set design is also off the charts in this one. The insides ever changing from location to location and beautifully encapsulating the feel and vibe of each place.
ルーデウス様はその女性を恐れてるように見えました。
Putting quite a lot of thought into this part of the story, taking it far deeper than I thought they ever would. In fact, at first I thought it was more of a joke. He couldn't get it up, but glad that's not the case. When you compare this to the area by the entrance where they entered the town, plus near where Rudius is staying, you've got like 3 totally different types of architecture in one single big town.
いや、俺が見るにちゃんとあの女はお前に熱を上げてたように見えたぜ。
Suddenly this dude goes from he's an annoying bully to I'm glad he's been around paying attention, as he's able to fill in the gap here for Rudius pointing out what I did earlier on.
やっぱ女ならエリーゼみたいなバインバインじゃなきゃダメだ。
Well played for making me genuinely very uncomfortable, when normally these kinds of scenes don't affect me in the slightest. It was probably the hurt look that did it the most to me.
バカ謝るな
That's incredibly real. You just never see anything quite like that in anime. The quick, horrible actions that one can take when they've hit rock bottom, and it's compounded by being drunk at the same time. Never thought I'd say it, but thank God Soldat was there, and so fast with his reactions too. Take 2 wins for that.
ネリス公国の方に大規模な迷宮が見つかってな。俺たちは今日中に立とうと考えてる。
けど意外とこいつはいいやつなのかもしれない。
で、どうすんだ？
行きます。連れて行ってください。
よし。
I gave him props for just now, but here's some more for actually trying to take care of him and help him out by offering to kinda take him away for a while from it all, likely to also keep an eye on him. Have one here for the outro. It's just credits, but has a lovely song.
その泥沼のルーデウスという冒険者のお話ですわ。
I remember her from the first season. Might just be me, but that's one of the coolest looking things I've seen in this anime.
おい、赤霊だ。来てるぞ。グリズリーは奴だから逃げて。
Bears are one thing, lizards and whatnot, but doing this dragon with no CGI is a gift.
大
煙幕をかけます。バラバラに逃げてください。
This moment, like a couple of others, is nothing short of breathtaking, compounded by the fact that it's all done by hand, and as an aside, isn't half building Rudius into a monster of a character. 2 wins! Once more I'm forced to point out another new town, different styles of buildings, and even the rooms are different on a big noticeable scale. Fantastic stuff. Probably the best not running on the spot in all of 2023.
お姉さんもなかなか美しいですよ。
マジで？なんか雰囲気出てるんだけど。え？
幼馴染ですよ。
幼馴染？エルフの方ですの？
Between his internal monologue, which is the source of so much comedy in this one, and those people not even hiding their peeping all that well, I found that so hilarious.
ここから徒歩での移動となると1年以上かかってしまうかもしれない。エリナ・リーゼによると、ゼニスはのんきに迷宮探索をしているらしいし。
I love that world building goodness. To know this world is so big that it'd take him a year to reach where his mother is. That's insane. Adding to that is that his mother clearly thinks that upping and leaving isn't an option, probably due to money and so on, that she's turned to adventuring once again. That face though. Oh lord.
よかったですか？
ああ、最高だった。
By the way, credit to Sol, his guys have slept with her already, but he clearly held off the longest, and clearly because he thought she was Rudius's girl, guy goes up in my estimations. It's like a proper city. Guessing this is a made-up language, but the quality, it's like real. You mad lads, you. I salute you.
グレイラットってアスラの地方領主だっけか？
あれ？
ああ、すまん。まあ、せっかく優遇してくれるって言うんだから。
Found it really sweet that his emotions got the better of him here when his family was brought up.
シルフィーと一緒に学校に行くというのが最初の目標だったっけか。
This reminder of his original path and how it makes sense for him to get back onto it. Things are going alright, obviously, but kind of makes sense to continue to better his magic by going there.
2年ぶりだな。
久しぶり。
Honestly, it had been so long, I legit forgot this amazing addition to the story was even a thing. Getting to see this guy properly for the first time as far as I can recall, plus putting the overall story seriously back into the spotlight. That being the mass teleportation event and what caused it, becoming the focus of his time at the school, no doubt. Really liked that. Wow.
ゾル、今までお世話になりました。
ああ、そっか。何にせよ。そのうち俺らもそっちに用事ができることもあるだろう。
Isn't it crazy? I hated this guy. Now I'm sad to see him go. That's some great character writing and building he's had that made me do a 180 mentally. Few wins to end episode 4. No ED. Boom! Next, a bunch of new characters hitting our screens to seriously set up the next part of the story. This is huge. Boom! Lastly, this distant shot of pure wowness. Final boom! Likely for the last time of this video, totally different area designed totally differently. Big fan of the floating blue crystal things too, looks so unique. To be honest, giving her a reason why she slips around so much. Wow, we actually got an OP finally, and it's stupidly great. For the final time, song is such a banger, but the visuals are exceptional to a degree I didn't think they'd bother to do. Easy 2 wins for that. The only other studio I've seen do animation this good at a distance is Bandai Namco Pictures with Iruma-kun. These two seeing each other again for the first time in forever is strangely painful to me. I can't even tell you how thrilling these bits are to me. I absolutely love them. He's so cool, can't escape that.
月に一度のホームルームにさえ出席すれば基本的に校内で何をするのも自由。
Showing this as I'd like to highlight 2 wins. 1, I always enjoy it when different clothing is shown through an anime. Far too often in the past did people wear the same thing forever and a day. And 2, I felt the need to dish props on Rudy as getting physically older all the time. Again, in cartoons, a lot of anime, people just never aged in the old days, so I always enjoy seeing it. Okay, just one more time. I'm so in love with the internal set designs, they're so good! You're out of your mind if you thought I wouldn't give this a win. Get yourself checked out, you're crazy! Ding! Also though, power from Chainsaw Man and of course Jolene from JoJo Stone Ocean.
クリフ・グリモル天才魔術師だ
Very clever to have taken the time to make the Eris episode as I covered here at the start, as thankfully he is now known fully to us the viewer. Bit much to risk showing, but I liked this scene for its lore, detailing the princess and her escape after failing to capture control of her country after episode 0, plus meeting another grey rat.
落としましたよ
Everything getting so serious all of a sudden over a pair of panties?
この下着僕が干そうとして落としちゃったんだ彼は拾ってくれただけなんだよ彼は悪くないと言っているだろういいからその手を離せ
I've never been so happy to see her! Not sure if this ending means she's figured out who he is, or maybe knew all along, or if he has figured her out, but it was great all the same. A real warmth between them even now. Final win here for the final proper ED, and such a lovely one it is as well. Amazingly calming visuals, showing a lot of both of them with such a nice song as well. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, your help is so appreciated. Watching as much of the video as you can. Any tip you'd like to give using the thanks button under the video, joining my Patreon would be amazing to vote in everything I cover and for more awesome perks. Link to that down below. And of course, a like and a comment on the video means so much to me. Massive thanks to everyone for helping out. You're amazing and I'll see you next time. Creator follower, Lifty, Nick Wyndham, Nightly Winter, Christopher Willis, Hinakami and Water, Marquez, Orkeeper, The Epicommander, Bertha Without a Word, Brandon Krier, Burn 100B, Emmanuel Gonzalez, Aaron Winters, Your Edvinson, Kepan, Kevin Alston, Cumfreak, Kylie Welp, Magnus, Matthew Blanchett, Nathan Burr, Sataki Yari, Sean, Sebastian Ramirez, Wicked Faye, Ali 50, Brainless Ben, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Hoved Lowe's Ritter, Isel Caldera, Juffa6263, Kelnock, Kevin Nelter, Laxus, Lionel Schultz, Marvin, Nick Monaco, 9028, Oliver Smiley Reacts, Peter Milligan, Sentimento, Stan, Storm 970, The Element Taylor Wars, Tricky Nicky,